More on this, we're joined by France 24's international affairs editor, Armin Georgian. Armin, how significant are these advances that Ukraine is making near Kharkiv?
Well, it's important to stress this is not a general counter-offensive by Ukraine along the entire lines of contact, Monty. It is a specific counter-offensive in one area. So the Ukrainian side is saying that they've pushed Russian forces back towards the international border of Ukraine here, northeast of Kharkiv. That is strategically and symbolically important, obviously, for the authorities in Kyiv, because it means, first of all, that Kharkiv, the actual city, goes out of Russian artillery range. And it also means that Ukrainian forces here can threaten Russian rear areas with their own shelling or other kinds of weapons. So there's a kind of double goal, if you will, here, and perhaps even a third goal as well, that if the Ukrainian forces can continue to push Russian forces back around Kharkiv, that could, at least I would think this is the thinking from the Ukrainian military's point of view, is it might also stall Russian offensives here, because Russia did take, the Russian military took Popasna, which is a gain, but can it be exploited? That is really the key question. In order for the Russian forces to encircle, to destroy this pocket here, north of Popasna, they would have to be able to exploit that gain in Popasna, which means having enough resources in this part of the Donbass to do it. That could be linked to what happens further north around Kharkiv, Monty.
So, of course, we see a lot of red there in the south, Russian-controlled territory. What are the latest developments there?
Well, so we have continued shelling of targets in and around Odessa here by Russian forces. Of course, very strategically important for the Ukrainians and for the Russian military. Odessa being a major port, place for grain imports and so forth. And the question is still, does the Russian military actually have the resources to try to make some kind of landing to create this sort of land corridor from Crimea all the way to Odessa, which is presumed to be one of the main Russian war aims, but it's not clear whether Russia has the resources to do that. They're continuing to target Odessa because Moscow says there are Western shipments of weapons coming through Odessa into the Ukrainian military. In any case, any sort of advance into Odessa would require presumably some sort of landing from the Black Sea, and this is something that the Ukrainians are very much trying to prevent from happening by essentially denying Russian ships a safe space in the Black Sea with the help of Western military support, such as, British naval help and so forth.
And if the Russians could take Odessa, it looks like they could landlock Ukraine. Is that right?
Well, this has been talked about for a long time, that one of the likely aims is to cut off Ukraine from the Sea of Azov and from the Black Sea. And but it's a big if, because as I keep saying, it's not clear that the Russian military has the resources to do this. But the assumed war aim in the south is to cut Ukraine off from the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea, which obviously creates a slow stranglehold on the Ukrainian economy and would require a complete reorientation of Ukrainian import and exports through land borders, railways, roads, and so forth, rather than through maritime routes.
Okay, Armin Georgian, France 24's international